What do you do when your child can't do maths and they're in year 12 and the pressure is building? What do you do when your child is on camp and they ring you in tears on the teacher's phone to describe how they've been bullied and fat-shamed? Today, I'll Do Better Tomorrow. It's the Happy Families podcast, real parenting solutions every day on Australia's most downloaded parenting podcast. We are Justin and Kylie Coulson. Kylie, you're feeling exhausted. It's been a monster week. I have some puns to help you to feel better about life because I know how much you love great dad jokes.
I can't wait.
Here we go.
I was at a funeral of a friend of mine. His wife asked me if I could say a quick word. I stood at the front, cleared my throat, choked back the tears and said, "Plethora." "Thank you," his wife said and sat back down. "That means a lot." The next man stands up sniffling and says, "Earth." "Thank you," the widow says. "That means the world." Another guy goes up and says, "Waterhole," and sits back down. The widow thanks him and says, "I know you meant well." Then another guy gets up and says, "Totality." The widow says, "Thank you. That means everything." A woman gets up and says, "Underestimate." "Thank you very much," the widow says. "That means more than you know." The last guy gets up and says, "Bargain." The widow says, "Thank you. That means a great deal."
So good. Kylie, do you feel more energized?
Sorry, I don't think any pun is going to pull me out of my exhaustion.
That came from How to Kill an Hour online. I just thought you were feeling a little bit low, feeling a little bit lacking in vitality. You're first today because...
I think it's just sleep, honey. I just need more sleep.
Probably. That is my number one parenting hack. You want to be a better parent? Get enough sleep. For those of you who are new to the podcast, we don't normally play other people's puns, but that one just caught me and I wanted to cheer Kylie up because she is feeling a little bit weary. On a Friday, we discuss things that have happened during the week that we think can help everyone to be a better parent. It's kind of like our news day. Remember when you're in those first few years of school?
Show and tell.
Show and tell. You stand up in front and share your news. Well, that's kind of what we do on a Friday. We're so glad that you listen to the pod. Kylie, you are first for our show and tell. I'll do better tomorrow. What have you discovered this week that can help other families with their happiness?
This past week, I've had a couple of experiences with people builders, and it's really impacted me and my desire to be one myself. We have a daughter in year 12, and she has for the last 12 months been struggling on and off with maths. She's managed to get through and she's actually done exceptionally well, and her grades don't reflect the fact that she's been struggling as much as she has. She has done really, really well. She asked for a tutor last year. We had a look around. We asked different people, and I even tried one, not with her, with one of the younger girls, and just didn't feel like we were in the right place at all. And then the year kind of came to a close. This year she started, and within 2 days of school, she is panicking.
Yeah.
The anxiety's going through the roof, and I thought, all right, we need to do something. Well, I just happened to be driving past.
There's a commercial building down the road.
Literally down the road.
With a big sign out that says
Tuition.
And
I thought, oh, I better try this. This is nice and close. But I kept forgetting to do it. And finally, I had another chat with her and I was like, I've got to go. So I literally made a beeline for this place, took a pamphlet, made a phone call, and the guy explained everything. It was actually a lot more expensive than I had expected it to be.
Everything is.
And it was a very different process. We had tried one-on-one. This is actually a group setting. And the acknowledgement was that she could pretty much bring any subject. She wasn't signing up as a math student. She was actually just signing up for tutoring. There were 5 or 6 teachers on hand at any given time who would be able to help her with any subject. And so I thought, we can only give it a go. Let's give it a go. We walked in the door. The principal of the company was waiting. He was talking with another family and he looked at them and he said, "I apologize. I really need to talk to this new family." Took us aside, had a chat with us, and before I'd even kind of registered what was going on, here was this guy who had taken as much interest in my child before he even knew her. And I just thought, wow. But what was more impressive was that at the end of the time that she had spent with him, he met me at the door again to tell me what an amazing child we had. Just how amazed he was that in spite of the gaps in her learning due to illness, that she was doing as well as she was, and that she really needed to give herself a pat on the back for doing as well as she'd done. And then just talked about all of the things that he was so excited to see her achieve this year, and the acknowledgement that he really felt like she was someone who was going to make a difference in the world. I just loved, number one, as a parent, hearing somebody else have this beautiful vision of your child is definitely a great feeling.
That's so affirming.
But it was actually more of what it did to her. I was just so grateful that we, number one, found this place. And number two, when she walked out the door, she said, Mum, I got more done with him in an hour and a half than I have got done in any class. Like, she was just blown away. And she just said, I've got this. I can do this.
Isn't that great?
It was amazing. And then a few days later, I'm with my 10-year-old and she invites a friend over. And I watched this little girl walk in, and Emily was so excited to show her some of her toys. And again, just this people builder 10-year-old who just warmed my house up and warmed my heart as I watched her build Emily up in everything she showed her. She was just energized and excited. And in the next breath, the two of them were bursting into song and singing together. It was just beautiful. And after having those two experiences, it just really reaffirmed to me just how beautiful it is when we can see the good in others and build them up and let them recognize and know it. It was so gorgeous. I want to be a people builder.
I love that. It reminds me of a poem that I heard when I was younger. You may recall this poem. It goes like this. It's by Edgar Guest. I watched them tearing a building down, a gang of men in a busy town. With a ho-heave-ho and a lusty yell, they swung a beam and a sidewall fell. I asked the foreman, are these men skilled, the men you'd hire if you had to build? He gave me a laugh and said, no, indeed, just common labour is all I need. I can easily wreck in a day or two what builders have taken a year to do. And I thought to myself as I went my way, which of these two roles have I tried to play? Am I a builder who works with care, measuring life by the rule and square? Am I shaping my deeds by a well-made plan, patiently doing the best I can? Or am I a wrecker who walks the town, content with the labour of tearing down?
Be a people builder.
I love that. Up next, what happened when our daughter had a meltdown at school camp? Okay, Kylie, so we have children who have stopped listening to the podcast because we only ever talk about our youngest, Emily. Today, you've talked about our Year 12 daughter, Annie, and I'm going to share a quick anecdote about our Year 10 daughter, Lily, just to spread things around, although you did give Emily an honourable mention in your second story just then. So over the last couple of weeks, I've spent a lot of time away. Primarily, I've been in New South Wales, and I am allowed to say this. We've been recording season 3 of Parental Guidance, and it is amazing. I'm so excited about this. Channel 9, I don't know when, a little bit later this year, this show is going to be incredible. Anyway, my schedule was absolutely so full as we put this together, and I really wondered how I was going to get any time to spend with family. As it happened, I had a 5-minute break. My phone was in my hand because I was about to call you. It was on Do Not Disturb, but I looked down and it was ringing. It was Lily, our Year 10 daughter. So we homeschooled her the last year and a half. She's gone back to an alternative kind of school this year, and they had school camp. She'd been on camp for a day and a half. She was ringing me on the teacher's phone. I didn't know that it was the teacher. It was just a random number ringing me. I pick up. I say, hello, this is Justin, and I hear sobs. Because I'm out of context, I'm not sure who it is, but it only takes me a second. Lily, it sounds like you're having an awful time. And then Lily begins to cry down the phone as she tells me that one of the kids was fat-shaming her, that there'd been some bullying, and that there was just a group of kids who she was really struggling with. I think she used the word, and parents, you might want to close your children's ears for a moment. In 3, 2, 1, crap heads. I think she literally said that she was really struggling with them. And I tried not to laugh because she was having a really hard time, but her description was, well, it made me chuckle. Anyway, as I listened, I thought to myself, okay, here I am in a television studio talking with a whole bunch of people on national TV about how to be great parents because I'm one of the nation's leading parenting experts. And I've got a daughter who's about to turn 15 who is bawling her eyes out down the phone saying that she's had enough of camp and she can't stand the kids and it doesn't seem fair.
And I have 2 minutes.
And I have 2 minutes to resolve this. Oh, what am I going to do? And then I remembered all the stuff that I try to teach people. And I thought, if it's going to work, it needs to work now. So as she described it all to me, I paused. When she took a break, I said, it sounds like you are having a really awful, hard time. And she burst into tears and said, Dad, I am. And I thought, oh no, I've done the wrong thing because now her tears are even bigger. And I said, I can hear that. It sounds absolutely rough. And she was quiet for a moment and she said, I just don't know what to do and I'm so sad. And I said, yeah, I know. When we're in those situations, it can be really tricky, huh? And Kylie, in the next breath, she said, but you know what, Dad? They sent one of the kids home and he was the main troublemaker. And just talking to you about it and hearing your voice makes me feel better already. And I said, okay, so what do you think is going to be the best thing for us to do? And she said, I can get through another day and a half. I'll be home tomorrow afternoon. I said, I'm so glad we got to talk. And she said, me too, Dad, and hung up. It was a 2-minute phone call.
Just so we're very clear, This is not success on your end.
Oh, what? Come on, I nailed it.
She pulled that together all by herself. I'm so impressed.
But the thing is, she pulled it together because she was heard. She was valued. She was validated.
What's amazing to me in that story is just the acknowledgement of the power that our voice, she couldn't see you, she couldn't hold you, she couldn't be held, but just hearing your voice
and the love in that voice,
moment and the acknowledgement that she felt heard was enough to give her the courage to actually take the next step forward.
So there are a couple of other things here. Number one, emotion coaching. John Gottman popularized it back in the late 1990s, wrote The Emotionally Intelligent Parent. But what it's really about is you recognize the emotion that the child is experiencing and you give it a name, which is what I did. Then you let it breathe and you don't try to fix it. You just support, don't solve. Once she felt supported, she recalibrated. I asked her what she thought would be the best thing to move forward. And because we've done this repeatedly, year after year after year after year after year, emotion regulation happens faster. It's a smoother process because those neural pathways of connection and regulation have been worn into the brain. That's the natural response. So when she felt seen and heard and valued, when she felt understood, when she heard me describe what she was feeling, she heard that love in my voice, that understanding in my voice. She calmed herself and, okay, I can get through the next day and a half. And the clear and present danger that was in my orbit is now not here. I can do this.
And what was amazing was when I picked her up the next day, she was exhausted. This was survival camp. They trudged through mud. They carried stretchers for 4 hours with a 55-kilo person on it. All the things. And the last day, they pulled a 6-ton truck. There was 50 kids trying to pull this truck. Brilliant. And they did it for hours. And she came home physically exhausted, but there was an exhilaration that she had experienced as she had pushed her body to the limits and she overcome something that was really, really hard.
That is our I'll Do Better Tomorrow, the take-home message from Kylie.
Be a people builder.
And from me, you don't have to solve, you just have to support. And when the kids can feel it and then you give them an opportunity to find a way forward, they will find it. The answers are deep inside themselves. We really hope you have a wonderful weekend. We're so grateful that you've been part of the Happy Families podcast this week, and we look forward to joining you next week with a whole lot more. The Happy Families podcast is produced by Justin Rulon from Bridge Media. You can find more information and resources at happyfamilies.com.au.